And I quickly want to cut across to Jerusalem. Joining us from the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office is his spokesperson, David Mencer. David Mencer, welcome on India Today. Our heartfelt condolences and sympathies. 1 year, losses of life in that worst terror attack in your country, sir. This meeting that's happening in Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office, what's that meeting all about?
Well, firstly, thank you for having me join you. Look, Israel today, it's been 1 year since the appalling terrorist attack on our country. It brought back terrible memories that we heard stories from our grandparents, the Holocaust stories, the pogroms, the type of Jew killing which we experienced, which we thought had been consigned to history. We experienced again just a year ago, the beheadings, the murder of children, the rapes of men and women, and the terrible ransacking of our country and the murder of our people. You know, the impression which sticks with me still is the shrieks of delight, the jubilation with which the murderers recorded themselves, how happy they were to perform their evil acts. But Israel has come together after that. Israel has decided that this effort to destroy this country will not be allowed to continue. We will defend ourselves, and that is precisely what we will do.
This meeting that just happened in the Israeli Prime Minister's office is being described as an emergency meeting, an unscheduled meeting. Do we have any details? What was discussed at this meeting?
We are facing 7 fronts of Iran at the moment, and this country is under threat as never before. We know Iran, because they tell us, wishes to destroy this country. It's the only country in the United Nations that openly says it wishes to destroy another country. But we have, for the first time in our 3,000-year history, we have an IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, which are willing to defend us. And that's precisely what they are doing. Now, that meeting today, it was held in commemoration out of respect for the victims of terrorism, which we have had in the last year, but also the 728 soldiers who have fallen in defense of this country, and also to discuss precisely what to do about Iran. Iran attacked us with the largest ballistic missile attack ever in the history of mankind. Just last Tuesday, myself and my family were in a bomb shelter for much of the evening. This country has a responsibility to defend itself, and that is precisely what we will do. Now, we know that in this battle, we see India as very much an ally. India understands what it's like to live in a dangerous neighborhood. You too have dangerous neighbors and understand the threat of terrorism. And we've been very heartened by the kind words of Prime Minister Modi in defending, in having an appreciation of this country's willingness and desire and the imperative to defend our citizens, because that's precisely what we're doing here.
Is there a delay in responding to Iran's ballistic missile attack, which Israel has described as the largest in the history, 181 plus ballistic missiles fired in your direction a week ago? Is there a delay, point one, and point two? Is it because Israel is not on top or does not perceive it to be on top of the escalation ladder, or is there American pressure not to retaliate?
Look, we have a duty to defend ourselves, and that's precisely what we will do. Of course, I won't discuss our plans live on India Today television right now, but I can tell you that this country understands very well the threat of Iran. We know their capabilities. We know that they desire to annihilate this country. They tell us very, very clearly, you know, thousands of years of persecution against the Jewish people has taught us one thing above all, is that when an aggressor tells us they wish to wipe our nation off the face of the earth, we believe them. Now, when Iran says that they wish to do this, we know that their proxies are trying to do it for them, and the gloves are off, because Iran attacked us directly themselves, as they did again in April. We know precisely how to deal with Iran. We know exactly what our capabilities are. And I think no one should be any doubt of this government's determination to do its primary responsibility. Just like the government in India, the government's primary responsibility is to defend our people. And you can be sure that is precisely what we will do.
But the fact that Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaks of a threat and a war on 7 fronts, from Hamas to Hezbollah to Houthis to what you describe as their benefactors, Iran. Is Israel biting more than it can chew in trying to take on 7 adversaries simultaneously? And is the aim first to deal with Hamas and Hezbollah and ultimately then go after Iran?
Look, I must tell you that they're all the same. The 7 fronts all have a common denominator, and that is Iran, not the people of Iran. It's very important to remember this, because the people of Iran are as much victims of the Iranian regime as we are. They're a very unpopular regime. They persecute their own people. The regime hates freedom. They hate democracy. Israel and India have such a close link because us being one of the smallest democracies and India being the largest democracy in the world, they hate freedom. They hate the values which we hold dear, which is why they're trying to defeat us. But be in no doubt, as the Prime Minister said in his United Nations General Assembly address just last week, he said in a very Churchillian way, in the way that Churchill was warning of the power of the Nazis in Germany before the start of the Second World War. He told the world very, very clearly that this is a menace that we are facing here locally because we're in their region. But make no mistake, they're after you as well. They're after other countries, other democracies, other freedom-loving nations. So we have to face up to them here. We believe we're on the front line of civilization, which is why we believe that the India is an ally.
Okay.
It's a relationship we take extremely seriously, the relationship between Israel and India. But we know we're on the front line of civilization, and you can trust me when I say we will be victorious. Make no doubt about it.
Is there reluctance on your other allies, United States, the fact that CENTCOM chief was in Tel Aviv, the fact that Lloyd Austin, U.S. Secretary of Defense, spoke to Yoav Gallant, the Israeli Defense Minister? What's America telling you? Is America telling you not to target the nuclear assets of Iran, or not to go after their oil fields, or to hold off till after elections? Is that a reason why there is delay, as is being speculated in some quarters?
Look, the US and Israel stand side by side, shoulder to shoulder. We have for generations now, for decades. In fact, the relationship between our two nations has never been closer. And that's evidenced by those 2 occurrences which you just mentioned, the visit of the head of CENTCOM and our discussions which our defense minister is having with his opposite number, Secretary Austin. We've been side by side in this battle. I'll tell you why. Not only because we're the only democracy in hundreds of miles in any direction, but we share the same enemy as well. And that enemy is Iran. They call us the small Satan, they call the US the big Satan. So the US understands precisely what we're facing, but ultimately it is the government of Israel's responsibility to take responsibility for the security of its own citizens. That is our primary responsibility of the government, just as it is your government in India, which means that we have a duty to our people. We have a sacred duty to defend this country. Now, Iran says very clearly they wish to wipe this country off the face of the earth. We are not going to let that happen. October the 7th was an attempt to destroy this country. The following day, on October the 8th, Hezbollah attacked us. They also had a plan called Conquer the Galilee, which also tried to repeat the October the 7th massacre, but this time by Hezbollah. We know that Iran is trying to destroy this country. They only do it out of weakness. Because their control of power is so weak back home in Iran, they're doing as many Arab countries have done in the past. They use their animosity towards us as a way to hold on to power. It didn't work for other Arab nations in our region. which is why we have made more peace agreements, the Abraham Accords, which we're extremely proud of. We want to get back to that situation. The Prime Minister's made two things very clear. The first thing he said is that we're able to defend ourselves both in ways which you have seen and in ways which you have not seen yet. And the second thing he said is that the end of the Iranian regime may come quicker than you think. It's time for Iranian people to be free.
You know, we'll be tracking that story.
This tyrannical government and this fascist Islamist-style government, which threatens them and it threatens us.
When I speak to experts and analysts in Iran, they say that the government is very clear. If there is a retaliation by Israel, Iran will strike back and harder, much worse than what it had done last Tuesday. Point one. Point two. Are you on top of the escalation ladder? Iran also says that this war won't just be vertical between Iran and Israel. It will be horizontal with other countries in the region, other Islamic countries in the region, perhaps, you know, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Turkey, Egypt. They've not said it explicitly, but is that your apprehension? They may join Iran and make it into a wider Islamic war versus the Jews here in Israel?
Look, you use the word retaliation. That is not a word which we use here in Israel. We use the word defense. We have no interest in escalation. We will always go for diplomacy. That's our preferred option. We value peace. It's in our very DNA. If you're here right now, you understand the value we put to peace. Indeed, the word shalom, which means peace, is our daily greeting. It's the way we say hello to each other. So peace is in our very essence. But when it comes to Iran, if they don't want diplomacy, if they say very, very clearly that they wish to wipe this country off the face of the earth, then we have a duty to stand up to this menace. Because make no mistake, they're going after us first, but we're only on their way to the wider world and other democracies and other freedom-loving nations. We will do our duty, and listen to me when I say we will be victorious. I'll tell you why. Because there is only one homeland for the Jewish people and the others which wish to live here with us in peace. That country is right here in Israel, the only homeland for the Jewish people in the entire globe. And the 9 or 10 million people demand that this country, as it is able, defends itself, deters the Iranian menace. We have no wish for retribution, but we have a desire for victory and defense. And you can be sure we take those responsibilities extremely clearly.
David Mansour for joining me here on India Today from Jerusalem. Many thanks. So, spokesperson for Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu makes it very clear Israel will strike, choose a place and time of its choice.